Heart Part 2. I never made it through this one stack because I'm talking too much. And here's the last of those. Some legendary Pink Dots records. Classic Gothic club hit Princess Cold Heart, 12-inch single. This is really rare. And another. There are some pretty decent soundtracks scattered throughout this collection. There's nothing spectacular about this one, but I do have some real rarities when it comes to soundtracks. I do have some other Chris and Cozy over in the other record collection, which is roughly about 400 records. Cindy Talk, classic underground band fronted by Gordon Sharp, who I actually know. He also worked on some This Mortal Coil stuff. Post-punk, pre-goth band that sounds kind of goth. It's a band that my band played with before. So we are now finished with this stack, and now onward to this one, which is about the same size. I did a video on this, and I made it through both these stacks, but I noticed when it played back, it was too dark, and I didn't say anything, and it was just 1 or 2 seconds per record, and it just flip, 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 flip. I thought it would be nicer to take my time, at least a little bit, and explain some of these treasures, starting with this one right here, with stack 2. Actually, that's not the right record. Starting with this one. This is an original issue, and the interesting thing about this record is if you look at it under a black light, it is light cream colored and has rainbow swirls in it. I don't have another record that's ever done that. I've checked dozens and dozens of them. Not even this one, which is a recent reprint I got a couple of years ago. I don't know what the Iggy was thinking with this, but that is a horrible record cover. But it is produced by Bowie, and he does backing vocals on it. Bowie also produced this and did backing vocals on it. This happens to be one of the few reissues I have. There's a song on this album which is called A Child Is Coming, off of the album Blows Against the Empire. And if you play A Child Is Coming backwards, in a portion of the track, there's a demonic voice saying, "Son of Satan, son of Satan." Paul Kattner and Grace Slick also recorded this, which, if you don't know, they were part of Jefferson Airplane in the 60s. My friend Jack fronted this band, and this is a really good album. KB. And there's not a self-respecting goth in the world who wouldn't have a copy of this. And if you are a self-respecting goth and you don't have that, I would highly recommend that you get a copy of it. Taxi Driver fans might recognize this. This was the record that Travis gave Betsy after the failed porno movie date. She also refers to one of the songs on this album when she tries to describe Travis when they went to a cafe together on their first date. And that song was The Pilgrim, Chapter 33. A couple of more Chris Christopherson. And I have some more in the collection that's off to the left, which entails about 400 records. 1972. Original issue, Gatefold, Pet Shop Boys, Sleeping Dogs Wake. I have quite a few rare soundtracks. This one's not that rare, but you really don't see it very often. Another record any self-respecting goth should always have. Radio Werewolf, Nicholas Schreck, and Zena Schreck. There's a cute picture of them on the back. And another one of their albums, or I should say 12-inch single. Nick on one side and Zena on the other. And of course, this is a soundtrack to the movie The Hunger, starring Bowie and Susan Sarandon. Heineken, fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. As I said, there are some soundtracks. I have quite a few mixed in, and this is one of the ones you don't see very often. Neither does this one turn up very often. This is a Morrissey single, which I've never opened. It's a 10-inch. It's going to be worth a lot of money probably someday. Another 10-inch single, and this is something that Douglas from Death in June did. Another 10-inch. Some Sol Invictus. Another Sol Invictus. That's not a record. It has a clear CD in it, and it's from the Creatures Anima Animus tour. So it doesn't count because it's not vinyl. Another Sol Invictus. Some 6-com picture discs. Morphogenesis. Mother Destruction picture disc. That's the flip side. And another 6-com picture disc. Flip side. And another 6-com album. Asylum. Another 6-com classic. A little more legendary Pink Dots. And another copy. No idea. It's actually really good though. Experimental Project by Boyd Rice. I almost burned those non-records because my friend Gittle Partridge used to be really close friends with him, with Boyd Rice, and they had a falling out, and she hates him, or at least used to hate him. Some really rare Diamanda Galas here. These don't really pop up on vinyl very often, particularly this one. I'm sure the other Diamanda albums, you can probably find them with a little effort through private collectors. This one, by the way, is not that easy to find either. Nor is this one. Nor is this one. This is an original 1972 Clockwork Orange gatefold in excellent condition. This has the full symphonies that are featured on the original soundtrack. And the French version of the soundtrack, Orange Mécanique. You didn't see that. That was your imagination. A friend of mine was in this movie. There was never a soundtrack officially for, I think, the first 2 Dirty Harry films, Magnum Force and Dirty Harry. But finally they released this stuff on 180-gram vinyl, so I was happy to buy it. Original 1972 3-way gatefold in excellent condition. I think this is pretty hard to find too. 1980. I'm surprised this is very hard to find because it's so old, 1969. But you can find this album pretty easy. This is another one that's kind of difficult to find sometimes. Tarantino's Death Proof soundtrack. This is on colored vinyl. Let me check it. I can't remember what kind of colored vinyl. Look at that. Is that cool or what? I don't know. A lot of people say vinyl is expensive. People say vinyl is expensive, but the thing is, that Death Proof soundtrack cost me, I think, $16.99. That's not so bad. And of course, soundtracks to both Kill Bill films. This is actually a reissue. I don't have many reissues, but it's identical to the original because I had it when I was about 13. This is pretty hard to find, actually, I think. And it looks like we're reaching the end of part 2. I'm getting some warning signs that the camera's going to stop working. Some of the music in this was in Kill Bill, Jim Carroll's second album. Kind of a punk album from 1978 or 9. And the classic